All right, teammates, we're going to go ahead and get this show on the road. Like I've been stating, we're going to take a 3-week journey into life insurance and talking about, how it not only impacts our community, but what's being sold out there and how you could be a life insurance crusader in the process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and we're going to get to it, man. Can you all see my screen? Give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. All right, perfect. All right, so this is our life insurance boot camp, teammates. And so this is week 1 of the boot camp. And what we're going to cover tonight is the life insurance crusade, the Primerica's life insurance products. And we're going to talk about a resource that's available to all of us. And it's the Life Training Hub, the Life Training Hub. And I wasn't really familiar with it. I had heard about it, but I got an opportunity to kind of get out there and see it and play around with it. And I think that it's something that if you're not aware of it, that you need to become extremely familiar with it. Because like I said, that this resource, along with the things we'll be covering over the next 3 weeks, when it comes to life insurance, it's going to level you up. Check this out, teammates. I know we got a lot of people that are newly licensed and that are in the licensing process right now. This training that we're about to do, it's right on time for you. It's right on schedule. It's right on time for you to, not only get licensed, but you can hit the ground running in helping people understand, the right type of life insurance to own and why. Are y'all with me? And so let's go ahead and talk about just our life insurance crusade, because that's why we're all here. It all started really with a life insurance crusade, right? And so let's talk about some facts about life insurance. These are some things that you may be familiar with, but some of you guys may not be familiar with. And as I was putting this presentation together, Coach B Walk, I was totally blown away by some of these statistics, right? Did you guys know that nearly half, we're talking about 48% of Americans right now, have no life insurance coverage at all? And 1 in 3 would experience, this is what they say, would experience a severe financial hardship within the first 3 months of losing their primary breadwinner. These are some facts right there. And this is why we do what we do. And I think sometimes, we get caught up in the money part of it, the compensation, maybe even the recognition. And I'm here to tell you guys that, look, it's not all about that. It's about so much more. And I want to shout out a couple of people real quick for, just putting their actions where their mouth is when it comes to this crusade. Man, we had a group of ladies. I want to shout out Selena, Courtenay, and April, who this past Sunday, they had their own little private phone blitz as a group and as a team. Guys, they were able to schedule like 14 appointments, and then, you calling people, and of course they ain't answering, you leaving voicemails. Man, all in all, I think total, these ladies combined had about 16, 17 appointments scheduled for this week, all for the purpose of getting in front of people to talk about who we are, what we do, for the purpose of spreading the message of the crusade. And so I wanted to give them a special shout out. I put their picture in Telegram, Coach B Walk, and let everybody know what they were up to and all that good stuff. Guys, they are setting this thing on its ear, right? And then I also want to give a shout out to a teammate, Chanel Scott. I see that she's on right now. I see her picture. You know what? Been licensed with us for a minute, but you know what? Sometimes, life gets in the way and life starts life, but she still has the crusade in her heart. She and her dad, Mike Johnson, spoke to somebody that came and came by Mike's house to sell him something, but got to talking to the guy and come to find out, he's married, he's got a kid, he's got a daughter, didn't have any life insurance. And so they talked to him about the power of getting properly insured for he and his wife and his daughter. And just yesterday, we were able to meet with them. On Sunday, we were able to meet with them and close some life insurance. No, Mike, it was Monday. Was it yesterday? Monday. Yeah, it was yesterday. I'm sorry. We got the follow-up meeting with him on Sunday. But yeah, just yesterday, Chanel, Mike, and I, we were able to meet with him. Mike had already done all the, the leg work and the grunt work, him and Chanel and stuff like that, able to close business with him, got him and his wife some coverage and their daughter. Now we're going to be talking to them about investments. That's the crusade, guys. Wasn't worried about, okay, how much am I getting paid for this, Nick? Oh, no. Just like want to do the right thing for people 100% of the time. That's the crusade, because check this out. And I want you to think about yourself as you look at these statistics. Listen to this, teammates. I want you to think about yourself. I want to think about your family. I want you to think about your friendship group. I want you to think about your cool coworkers. Notice I said your cool coworkers, your ex-coworkers, the people that you know, sorority, fraternity, ministry groups, whatever. I want you to think about those people, because I'm telling you right now, there are faces behind each and every last one of these statistics, and there are people that you love and care about that they're living in these statistics, and they're waiting for us to come talk to them. So let me show you these statistics, right? Putting it back up. I already told you guys the first one. Second one says, among millennials, only 10% feel they have adequate coverage, while 44% aren't financially prepared for the unexpected death of a breadwinner. So it's not just people, some folks think that, oh, I need to be a certain age, or I need this, that. No, like, it doesn't matter if you're seasoned, if you're young, whatever the case may be, you need coverage. Around 50 to 72% of people overestimate how expensive life insurance is, which deters them from buying the coverage. See, folks are walking around, Coach B Wall, thinking that life insurance is going to blow their budget out of the water. I need it, but it's going to cost me maybe $300, $400, $500. They thinking that it's like car insurance. People are walking around thinking that, is it tied to my credit? My credit ain't so strong, so they might charge me a higher rate. Because I'm telling you, it's a lot of myths out there when it comes to life insurance. And who's going to be out there talking to these people about what life insurance is and how accessible that it is? It's got to be us, guys. It's got to be us. Check it out. There's more statistics that I want to share. Did you all know, look at this, the median coverage amount for Black Americans is approximately $50,000, which is substantially lower than the $150,000 of our white counterparts. Now, you and I both know that if somebody passes away, the death benefit is only $50,000. The funeral gonna cut in about half of that, or a third of that. And then if that person has a spouse, has some kids that are financially dependent on them, they got debt, they got all kind of expenses. Oh man, what are we talking about? I want you to remember that number though. The median coverage amount for Black Americans is only $50,000, which is substantially lower than $150,000 of our white counterparts. Check this out. A whopping 66% of Black Americans cite burial. Listen to this, guys. Burial and final expenses as the main reason they own life insurance. That's 66%. With 31% believing life insurance is only for final expenses. And that's indicating a limited understanding of its broader financial utility. Guys, we got work to do. Can y'all see that, man? This is a crisis that's going on in our community. But with every crisis, there is an opportunity, Sharice. There's an opportunity. But it's only an opportunity for the people who have the courage to go out and crusade the right message. And so, last one I want to share on this screen. It says 56%, nearly 20 million of Black Americans say that they need life insurance or they need more. They need more life insurance. I just ran a field training appointment with Courtenay. It was yesterday. And we met with, we did appointments with people yesterday. and his two brothers, man, they need life insurance. Ran a field training appointment with April, according to their sister April. And the young lady we met with in the evening time, she was like, I have a life insurance policy and I've had it for a minute, but I know I need more. So what y'all are talking about and what y'all are doing is right on time. Right on time. And so, guys, we don't run across a bunch of people that just say, I'm good. I don't need that. I'm straight. Like, we do not run across a lot of people that are like that. Once we're able to bridge that knowledge gap and we open up that value gap, guys, I'm telling you, we don't run across a lot of people like that. Last statistics I want to show you guys to talk about this crusade is, listen to this. The number one reason a family falls below the poverty line is the unexpected death or disability of a primary income earner without adequate financial protection, most often due to the lack of life insurance or income replacement coverage. That is the number one reason why families fall below the poverty line. And listen to this, when it comes to the kids, because we know people that have children, the death of a parent is one of the leading factors that pushes children into poverty, especially in single income households. Number one reason. And we all know the ill effects of poverty and how it can shorten the lifespan and all of that. And so this is part of the crusade that you enlisted in. You may not have known that it was this crucial, but I'm here to provide the facts to help you understand that you getting a life insurance license isn't just about you doing a few policies and making a few dollars. It's about you being able to correct injustices that have been done to people, to be able to tend to and educate a marginalized demographic that has been abandoned by certain sectors of the financial service community or been taken advantage of. And it's an opportunity for you to be able to write legacy. To be able to write legacy, when you type in that application and you hit submit, the ripple effect from that life insurance application can leave a lasting legacy on a family. I know you may not believe that now, but trust me, you stick around this thing long enough, you will find out, right? So these are just some facts when it comes to life insurance. Now let's talk about another dynamic of our crusade. This gentleman that you see on the screen, this is Art Williams. He's actually the founder of A.L. Williams, which soon became Primerica. He is a pioneer, the pioneer of the buy term, invest the difference crusade that our company was built on, right? He's a billionaire now, but let me show you, I'm just going to give you a little bit of bullet points from his story, right? He wrote a book some years ago called Coach. If you ever want to audible that book, it's called Coach by Art Williams. It is, to me, Sean, it is his love letter to the company. It's his love letter because it tells his story and how what his life was like before he got into insurance, before he started A.L. Williams, how he got into the business, and what transpired after that. To me, I think that's his love letter to the company. It's a very powerful book. It'll give you the history of Primerica and how it all came about. But before we were Primerica, we were a company called A.L. Williams, right? And so let me tell you a little bit about Art. Art started as a high school football coach in Georgia, right? He was a high school football coach. His dad had died at a young age when he was in college, when Art was in college. Art had two younger siblings that was in the house. His dad died with not a lot of life insurance coverage because he was sold the wrong type of insurance. He was sold a cash value policy, and he left his mom, a single mom, with two kids, and really no meaningful savings program. These are Art's words. And he saw his mom have to struggle to raise his younger siblings while Art was in college and when all this went down. And so he went to a family reunion, and he learned the buy term invest the difference concept from a cousin of his who's an accountant in Tallahassee, Florida. His cousin's name is Ted Harrison, and he showed Art at that family reunion in 1963 the buy term invest the difference concept. And Art said that he saw that and he was blown away because the way that his cousin framed it he said that, hey, your dad had this much coverage, but if he was sold a term policy, he could have had 10 times that coverage. And Art thought about that, said, hey, man, my mom could have used that money to be able to establish herself and be on a more secure footing. So he went back after he left that family reunion. He researched it on his own at the library. And he found out that buy term and invest the difference was real. So long story short, he started doing the business part-time. He found a company that'll let him write as an agent part-time. He did a fantastic job, saved up a bunch of money at this time as a part-timer with an insurance company doing buy term and invest the difference. And sooner or later, he went full-time with a company. And then that company, he ended up breaking away from it to start his own business, which was A.L. Williams. And he started A.L. Williams in 1977 with 85 people. 85 people. That's what they started the company with in 1977. And that 1977 year, Sean, is the year we used for Primerica. When y'all seen the presentation, we've been serving families since 1977. That's when A.L. Williams was started. That's our start date as Primerica, A.L. Williams. And then guess what? Within 10 years, they built the sales force from 85 people, Coach B-Walk, to 225,000 licensed agents. Come on, somebody. Issuing over $300 billion in life insurance in force, which was more than a lot of the top life insurance companies at the time combined. Guys, A.L. Williams and the buy term invest the difference concept rocked the financial services industry. Nobody has seen anything like it because they introduced an opportunity to recruit people part-time in this business, get them licensed, and gave people a chance to go show their warm market, their family members, their friends, what it is to be properly insured and be able to save money outside of a life insurance policy. It rocked the financial services industry, and it took off like wildfire. And then, just like any business or business owner, once something becomes successful, you have an opportunity to sell that business. Well, Art had some health challenges and things like that, and he was so crucial and pivotal to the company that he said, hey, look, if something happens to me, I don't want this opportunity to die out and go away because I know that I'm the leader, I'm the voice, I'm the face of it. So in order to put the company in a position where it can live on after him, he decided to sell it. And so who did he sell it to? In 1989, Art sold A.L. Williams to a fledgling financial service company called Primerica. And Primerica also owned Smith Barney, which was an investment firm, right? Look at this, guys. In 1993, Primerica merged with Travelers, an insurance company, right? And in 1998, B-Walk, Travelers merged with Citicorp to become Citigroup, which is now known as Citi. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Shake your head yes if you know what I'm talking about. This is the history of Primerica, right? So they merged, they formed Citigroup. And so Primerica was a subsidiary of Citigroup. When I joined the business back in 2003, Primerica was a subsidiary of Citigroup. We were not an independent financial firm. We were a part of Citigroup. But check this out. In 2010, Primerica spun off from Citigroup to become an independent, publicly traded company. And now we're on the New York Stock Exchange as our own firm, ticker symbol PRI. That is how we went from A.L. Williams to Primerica, a subsidiary of Citigroup, to now just Primerica, our own independent entity. Now, I know I gave you the very short, straight across the field, abridged version. You got to read Coach in order to be able to get the real detailed story behind it. But guys, it's a beautiful story. But I think that as a crusader and as an agent in this thing, it's good for you to know your history. Y'all agree with me? Raise your hand if you think, man, it's good to know your history, right? And I'm recording this so you'll be able to refer back to it and all that good stuff whenever you want to. But check this out. So now that you guys know the history from A.L. Williams to Primerica, let's talk a little bit about some other important things. Primerica's impact, right? These are statistics that I took straight off Primerica.com. If you go to Primerica.com, our regular client website, just public website, Primerica.com, in a drop down, there's a link that says our impact. You click on that and it gives you a lot of facts and statistics about Primerica. I just pulled a few of them out. Guys, do you know right now, and this was as of 2024, we got more now. There's $954 billion of term life insurance that Primerica has in force. Almost $1 trillion, Coach B-Wall, of life insurance that's in force right now. Almost $1 trillion of life insurance in force. Not only that, we have over 5.5 million lives that are covered by term policies right now. 5.5 million lives. Check this out. Our average face amount, this is going back to that statistic I had earlier, our average face amount for our clients in life insurance is $255,000. That blows out of the water that 50,000 median coverage for Black Americans and 150,000 for the other community. Guys, we're at 255,000 in average face amount that gets issued when we do a policy. That means that the average policy that we get issued and we put in place for a person, 255,000. Come on, somebody, y'all got to get excited about that. And then we pay out, check this out, Sharice, $4.9 million in death claims every single day. That's what gets paid out. Pay out $4.9 million in death claims every single day. And then last but not least, the average household income for our clients, this is household income, is $82,800. That's the average household income. So guys, we service middle America. That's who we service. We service a community that you come to the table saying, I make $80,000 a year, I make $50,000 a year, I make $40,000 a year. They telling you, I'm sorry, we can't do nothing for you. That's most companies when it comes to financial services. And yeah, you might have somebody that sell you the wrong type of life insurance policy, Sydney, but they ain't trying to do no full financial game plan for you. But this is the crusade that we're in, guys. This is the impact that we're having. I'm almost done. Check this out. Now let's talk about Primerica's life insurance products. So we have two different types of life insurance product. We have something that's called a power term, and then we have a precision term. Let's talk about some of the benefits and the features of our power term product. I know that there's a lot of intricate, detailed facts about some of these bullet points that I can take a really hairy, gory deep dive into. I'm not going to do that for this training. What I'll do is, at some point, I'll try to line up one of our home office representatives to be able to come in and talk in real specific detail about some of the features of these policies. I'm going to give more of an overview on those things. We used to have an area marketing manager in this area. She was a great business partner, Sochi Lopez. But now, unfortunately, she moved on and she got hired on as a partner with Corebridge, our annuity company, and they're still looking to replace her position here in this area. But let's talk about our power term product. So when you do a power term policy on a client, did you know usually there's no medical exam required? So this is the policy that we do for people that they prefer not to do the medical exam, meaning that they don't have to go through the height, weight, blood, urine. You might hear your field trainer or your regional vice president refer to it as a paramed exam. They don't have to do that. They don't have to do that. The issue age for a power term product is from 18 to 70. The youngest a person can be to get a life insurance policy, their own policy, is 18. The oldest, listen to this. This is very important because I know some of you guys might have people that's in your family, or you might have friends or relationships with people that are over the age of 70, and you're saying, hey, I want to see if I can get a policy on that person. Unfortunately, if a person is age 70, that is the oldest that the company will allow us for us to write a new policy on a person, is age 70. If they're 71, we can't do it. But if they 70 in 11 months and 28 days, we can write it because they're still 70. So that whole 6 month, if they're within 6 months of the birthday, with this power term, precision term series, they're doing actual age, not the age that the person is within 6 months of their next birthday. So whatever age that person is, if they're between age 18 and 70, we can write a policy on them. These are the term lengths. We can do a 10-year term, a 15-year term, a 20-year term, a 25-year term, a 30-year term, and a 35-year term. Now, as you get to some of those longer terms, we are restricted by age, right? So a 70-year-old cannot get a 35-year term. They can get a 10-year term, but they cannot get a 15 or 20 or a 30, 35-year term. So, get with your regional vice president, and they'll tell you about the age requirements that a person has to be in order to qualify for the longer terms, right? We also have what's called an increasing benefit rider. That's included. That's no extra charge for that. That's included in the policy. Well, what is an increasing benefit rider? That means that on the anniversary date of the policy every year, a person has a chance to increase their coverage, Selena, by 10%. They don't have to go through any additional medical testing, no additional underwriting required. Their coverage can increase by 10%. Now, it also just puts a slight increase to their premium, but I'm telling you right now, this is an opportunity for them to keep pace with inflation. So I'm all in favor of the increasing benefit rider, because a person can literally go from having 150,000, if they let that increasing benefit rider go for the full term, which is normally 10 years, they can end up with 300,000. It's designed to double the coverage in 10 years. They can have $300,000 in coverage in that 10 years without having to go through any additional medical testing or anything like that. And it's a way for people to incrementally add coverage. Have y'all ever had somebody, and if you haven't, you will come across people, the people who are licensed, have you ever ran across somebody that says, Sean, I want 300,000, but my budget right now is only allowing me to do 200,000. Have y'all ever ran across a person that when they want more coverage, but what they can afford in their budget only allows them to get lower coverage? Y'all ran across people like that? Well, this is the perfect solution for them, because they can slowly add coverage and it doesn't have to immediately shock their budget. So this is a cool thing, right? So that's called an increasing benefit rider, where on the anniversary date of their policy every year, their coverage is able to increase 10%. Then we have the waiver of premium rider. That is available too. Now that costs extra, so it's an optional thing, but the waiver of premium is a great rider to add to a policy. What does that do? That means that if a person became totally disabled at the diagnosis of a doctor, you can't just be like, oh, my back hurt, I'm totally disabled, can I not pay my life insurance premium anymore? No, that's not how it works, right? So waiver of premium means that if a person became totally disabled at the diagnosis of a doctor, Primerica will waive their life insurance premium. There's some other things that are included in there. I'm just kind of giving you a real broad overview of it, but waiver of premium is a very, very powerful feature as well. It does cost a little bit extra, so sometimes it might be cost prohibitive depending on what a person's budget is. But at the same time, for younger clients, it's good to add it on there. Waiver premium, because you never know, especially for a single parent. If a single parent became totally disabled, meaning that their life, their world was just turned upside down with a major disability like that, to where probably they can't work or anything like that, I promise you the last thing they need to worry about if they're a single parent is, how am I going to keep this life insurance up? Because they're thinking about their life anyway and all of that. So this allows them to not have to worry about that. And Primerica will pay that life insurance premium until they pass away. That's the powerful part of it. Then we have a terminal illness benefit rider. That's included, no additional cost. What does that mean? If a person gets diagnosed with a terminal illness, if they get diagnosed with a terminal illness, they're able to access a percentage of the face amount of their coverage while they're alive. While they're alive. And so let's just say a person has $250,000 in coverage, they could be able to access a lump sum of that $250,000 in coverage while they're alive. And then when they transition and pass away, Primerica will pay out their beneficiaries the remaining portion of the money. But sometimes people might need that money to be able to take care of life things, to be able to do bucket list things. You just never know, right? But there is a terminal illness benefit rider. Now, the waiver premium feature, if you have that on a policy, it allows you to access a larger percentage of your face amount while you're alive. And I won't get into the details in terms of percentage. That's something that I'll show you how to get those details here in a minute. We also have 10 different rate classes, so that allows us to be able to get more people approved that have pre-existing conditions. So there's 10 different rate classes. There's an opportunity for real-time underwriting and instant approval. Let me stop sharing on this. Opportunity for real-time underwriting and instant approval. So when you submit an application, check this out, teammates. You submit an application, power term, it gets to a point there, you collect some information, it says, hey, we're underwriting your policy right now. Y'all see that screen come up and stuff like that? That joker may come back with a, hey, we instantly approved the person. And you get a congratulations on that. You've been instantly approved and all of that. And guess what? Sometimes, depending on their health and all of that, Primerica might give them more coverage than they applied for the same money. Mike, we just had that happen yesterday with the married couple that I was just telling you about that him and Chanel had lined up. It was funny. I asked the question, Coach B-Walk. I said, hey, man, which one is the healthiest out of you and your wife? Cousin was like, I'm the healthiest. I work out every day, blah, blah, blah. We did them applications. They both applied for their coverage, $150,000 a piece and stuff like that. He was approved instantly for us, $150,000, praise God. She was approved, the wife, but she got approved for $275,000, same money. And I was like, and we were like, yeah, we see who the healthy. He was like, man, don't tell her that. Don't tell her that, right? But she got approved, Sean, for the same premium, Primerica bumped it up to $275,000. So you'll have clients, guys, that they can possibly experience that to where they might say, I want this much, and because I'm willing to spend this much, but then they get approved for more. That only happens instantly like that when you do power term, but it can happen if you do precision term too, but you'll find that out immediately if you're doing a power term policy. If a person is instantly approved, and if they are approved, that they're able to qualify for more coverage, right? And so opportunity for real-time underwriting, instant approval, automatic increase request. This, again, that factors into them being able to get more coverage for the same money, just like I just described. This is big. One child rider covers all eligible children. One child rider cost covers all eligible children. As long as the child is under the age of 18, whether a person has one child, they have one child or they got 10 children, it's still the same cost. One child rider covers all eligible children, and they'll each be covered for the same amount in the child rider. So if you got a $15,000 child rider on your policy, if you have one kid, that kid's covered for $15,000. If you got 5 kids, each of those 5 children are covered for $15,000. That's powerful, y'all. That's powerful. And then this is big too. There's no war or terror clauses in our policies. So some life insurance policies, if it's an act of war or an act of terror, they will not pay out the death benefit. I'm going to repeat that. If a person passes away because of an act of war, an act of terror, A lot of life insurance companies will not pay out that death benefit because they have a clause in their policy that if that person dies because of that, then they won't pay out. When 9/11 happened, a lot of people's families ran up against that because what happened in those Twin Towers, that was considered an act of war, an act of terror. And a lot of life insurance companies did not pay out those families who had loved ones that passed away. Can you imagine that? But Primerica, we had those clauses in our policy, Selena. We took them out right then and there and still paid out the death benefits. Still paid them out. Took them out and said, we're going to honor all these families. And we had clients that passed away from both towers, that were in both towers. Primerica clients paid all the death benefits. Y'all ain't excited. See, that's the company that you're a part of. That is the company that you're a part of. And so let me share a little bit more. And then also available, guys, there's child rider conversion options, and also end of term options. So child rider conversion options, when a child turns age 25, they're able to get their own policy without having to go through any underwriting or anything like that. They can get up to 5 times their coverage amount, whatever their child rider coverage amount, able to get that in their own policy. Obviously, they can get more, but they can get up to 5 times their child rider amount without having to go through any underwriting. And then, of course, when a person comes to their end of term, Primerica has end of term options for that person. It's not that your insurance goes away or anything like that. Nope, that's a myth. For our term policies, at the end of a person's term, your coverage does not go away. It continues on. They give them end of term options to continue the coverage. All right. Omar, talk to us, man.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
No, I was just going to touch on the end of term because I recently learned exactly how it works. And I just wanted to share with everybody that may not be too familiar with it. So if you are at the end of the term, right, the client has the option to renew to what's called custom exchange for another 10-year policy, right? Probably you can lower the coverage because the insurance need is probably less at that point, right? Hopefully they did the right plan and they have enough cash that their need for insurance is less. So you're going to renew for another term with no insurability, and then it turns into what's called the DT 100, where the death benefit decreases every year all the way until age 100 for the same premium at the time of renewal, the end of the end of the term. So I just wanted to touch on that because when we're talking to people and say, well, like you said, Nick, term ends, I'm not going to have coverage at the end. Well, you can have coverage. It's just it's going to be less because your insurance needs will actually be less. And then you can renew for that 10-year term without having to prove insurability.
Fantastic. Good stuff. Good stuff. And Coach B-Walk, if you have anything to share, just feel free to jump in and all that good stuff. But guys, this is just the power term product. Very awesome product. Now let me talk about the precision term product, which is the sister product. A lot of the things are the same about the precision term product as the power term, but with the precision term, usually a medical exam is required. Medical exam is, so they got to do the paramedic exam. They got to do the height, weight, blood, urine, if you're going to do a precision term life insurance product. Now, I say usually because I've had a handful of them, Coach B-Walk, to where we scheduled a paramedic, but because of their great medical history and stuff like that, Primerica waived the paramedic exam, Sean. And the client was like, Nick, I went to the deal and they didn't have my orders to do my paramedic exam. What happened? And I'm looking in the system and I'm like, oh man, this rarely, man, they waived your paramedic exam. You don't even have to get it. They just went ahead and approved you. Now, guys, don't expect that to happen for your cousin. Don't be out there like, cuz you probably ain't gonna have to do. No, 99.5% of the time, cuz gonna have to do that daggone paramedic exam. I promise you that. They're gonna have to do it. It's just rare. Now I don't know what the percentages are. I'm just, obviously that's hyperbole, but I'm just talking. But listen, It can have, but usually you do precision term on somebody, Selena, they're gonna have to do the paramedic exam. All right, let me share my screen again. Now, usually precision term is less expensive than power term. Now, that doesn't mean that you default to precision term. Don't do that. Get with your field trainer, get with your RVP, and they will be the ones that tell you which is the best option to do. We do a lot of power term because we're trying to get the policy issued. Precision term is if a person is doing a certain amount of coverage. If they're doing above $300,000 in coverage, depending on their age or an amount that's higher, and their health is good, that's key, and their health is good, you know, then we might look at precision term, but most of the times we're going to be doing something in the power term range. Issue age is the same, 18 to 70. Term lengths are the same increasing benefit rider, same waiver of premium rider, terminal illness benefit rider, rate classes, automatic increase requests. Same thing about the child rider, covers all eligible children, no war terror clauses, and also available child rider conversions and end of term options as well, right? But just know that the big things are power term usually does not require a paramedic exam. Every now and then they might ask for it. So it's not a guarantee, but it usually, most of the time, power term does not require the paramedic exam. I haven't had probably more than 2 that turned around and required it. Mostly, if they need more information about a client, you do a power term, they'll ask for their medical records. But precision term, it will require the medical exam, all right? So just govern yourself responsibly and accordingly when it comes to that. If you have any questions about it, which one do I do? Get with me, Coach B-Walk, your field trainer. We will be very helpful and instrumental in making and helping you choose the right one. All right. So coming down the home stretch, guys, I want to show you all the Life Insurance Training Hub. This is a very, very powerful tool that we all want to get familiar with. So if you log into Primerica Online, I know a lot of you guys, when y'all access POL, it gives you the Primerica app view. Well, what I'm showing you right now is the agent website view. This is what it looks like. This is what the home screen looks like. So on there is tabs up at the top. You click that products tab, and then there's a drop-down menu. You're going to click that life insurance link, which is right up there at the top. You click that life insurance link. Then from there, this screen should show up. It has a lot of different options. Guys, if you just have time and you're a gym rat, you want to get to just learn the business, you can just click on all these little links, man. Just explore it, see what's under there. You can't break it, guys. You can't break it. So just tap into it. But what I want to really concentrate you on is the Life Insurance Training Hub, which is right here. Life Insurance Training Hub. You click that, it's going to take you into this portal right here. Check this out. Life Insurance Training Hub. Take the Life Champion Challenge, right? It says evaluate your knowledge and skills with the Life Insurance Training Checklist. And you can click that button, you can view your checklist. And under that checklist, Sean, it's all kind of different trainings and things like that. And as you complete it, it checks it off. It is so awesome, man. There's a 4-part quiz you can take to try to quiz yourself and stuff like that. Guys, you're not graded on this. This doesn't get you licensed or anything like that. But what it does do, it levels you up in your knowledge, your competence, your confidence, and all that type of stuff. And y'all know what I feel. Competence equals confidence. No, competence plus confidence equals compensation, man. And so all of this stuff will lead to you being able to make a greater impact and also make more money. So Life Insurance Training Hub. Let me go back. Log in, products tab, click that life insurance link right there. It takes you to this screen right here, right in the middle. Life Training Hub. Click that, and then it goes here. All right. And then this is just some things in the Life Training Hub. It says master key concepts and essential information. Our why. You click on that arrow right there on the right-hand side of the screen by the our why. It tells you, hey, learn the history behind Primerica's buy term and invest in difference philosophy and tap into our why, the crusade. Guys, it's just great stuff. Then there's the foundation talking about term life insurance. Then it talks about our financial concepts, Coach B-Walk. Some of Primerica's most successful leaders break down the fundamental financial concepts like the rule of 72, theory of decreasing responsibility, the power of compound interest, right? And then you can understanding the industry. You know, when you understand the different types of life insurance that are out there, from group life, credit life, whole life, index universal life, it talks about that in the Life Training Hub. So you don't have to worry about your regional vice president talking about it, or, you know, when we're going to do a training. I mean, guys, there's training that you can access right here to make you aware and get a deeper understanding of a lot of this stuff. Support and resources, got stuff out there for you on that. So this is the action item, and I'm done. I want you to take the Life Challenge, the Life Champion Challenge. I want you to take that Life Champion Challenge. Go through the checklist that pops up under your Life Training Hub. Go through all the different little bullet points on the checklist, and as you finish them, it'll put a check mark by it. It'll turn the color, and you can go to the next one. Take the Life Champion Challenge in the Life Training Hub. Work your way through it. I promise you, teammates, that you will come out of that deal having a greater understanding, a greater belief, a deeper connection to the crusade, and just be fired up and ready to go share what it is that you've learned, right? Because that's what we want. We want you to translate these types of trainings and what you learn here. We want you to convert it to action. I want to give a special shout out to Selena Poe. She's on training right now. She's got her camera on. But Selena, she was a part of that group that on Sunday where they did the phone blitz and scheduled appointments. Check this out, Coach B-Walk. Selena ran a field training appointment today. Sean's going to like this one. She did the presentation. This was only her third presentation. She did the presentation, Coach B-Walk, from top to bottom. She did the whole thing. I said, hey, I texted her earlier, hey, you know, you gonna be ready to do the presentation? And she said, Nick, I'm gonna do the whole thing. And she was nervous and stuff like that. I said, sis, you got it. She did the whole thing. Coach B-Walk got committed from the client. She got them committed to do the wealth builder. We get back with them next Tuesday to do the wealth. Y'all ain't excited, man. I'm excited. Selena was excited.
I have to come off mute for you, Selena. Look,
come on mute for Selena.
Come on now. I think everybody needs to come off mute, y'all. That's our third appointment.
That's what's up.
Third appointment. That's good. That's good. Congratulations on that.
That is excellent. I love it. Proud of you, girl.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic, man. I'm telling you, man. I told her, I said, look, hey, and she's got more appointments this week. I said, man, you ready. You're ready. I was like, I was about to jump up and cheer like I was at a Broadway show and just say bravo at the end, but I had to contain myself. But I was just so proud of her and so excited for her and what she did. And I'm telling you, teammates, your time is now. What you hear about other teammates doing, we're waiting on you to do the same. If you have not scheduled any field training appointments so you can share this crusade with people, I strongly encourage you to do it, because you never know what that phone call and that appointment, what that impact will have on a person and their family for years to come, for generations and all of that. You just never know. You never know. And I'll get one of my good buddies, Umang Talati, to come on, and maybe he'll do maybe we'll do a joint training. He's a regional vice president, $250,000 earner here in Houston, Texas. Just a great guy. But he has a very unique story in how he first got introduced to Primerica, because an agent, when he was in, I think, middle school or high school, Coach B-Walk, an agent came and sat down with his parents. And they did a life insurance policy and an investment account with his parents. And so he has a very unique story. So when the opportunity came around, he was already familiar with the company. And now he is doing amazing things in the business. Amazing in the business. So you just never know what that impact will be, teammates. So Coach B-Walk, before we transition into the announcement, anything that you want to add, anything you want to share based on what was done tonight?
No, I mean, I think it's great that you're sharing this information because sometimes we forget. Like, there's a history behind how Primerica was created, and then just everybody gets to see that. We always say 1977, been around since 1977, but we don't even know where it came from, where Primerica originally started. And so I'm glad you went over that, but those statistics, y'all, they're real. And so it's important to hear those statistics and understand that that wealth gap is increasing more and more. And so we are here to stop that. And so that's about understanding the crusade, getting out here and talking to our people, because if we don't, someone else is, and they're going to offer them the products that they don't need. And people don't even understand that there's an insurance need, like an amount that they actually need for their family. And so us getting in front of them and doing the complete wealth builder, is important, because they need to understand, when I get to retirement, how is that going to look? And then they need to understand, like Omar just got through speaking about, the inner term. If you don't know about the inner term, that's where they're going to get you at the table. Well, I know the term policy expires, and when it expires, they're going to say all that. That's why I want a whole life. And so you need to make sure you are going into that training deck, knowing your information, and being able to eat. And I'm talking to the newest person on the call, y'all. Because the reason why is because my first close was a close best friend of mine from my hometown. Her birthday is tomorrow too. Okay, that's how long we've been knowing each other. Same day, same hospital, but she had an IUL, and her agent we went toe to toe. And this was his first or second month license, and we went toe to toe. And because I paid attention in my field training, guess what happened? She's still my client today, right? And she's also an investment client. And she came back and she did her educational plans with me for both her kids. And
Wow.
so knowing your information is important. I don't care how
Boys, please come down for.
hey Riri. I don't care how new you are, right? But it's so important for y'all to know that information. And then they don't know that you texting your field trainer or your RVP, kind of getting back and saying, hey, I know this, but I need some help in this area. Don't be afraid to do those things, but also, y'all, don't use it as a crutch by saying, I don't know this information because I'm new. I don't know this information because, when the information is right there. I'm so glad that you showed that training deck, Nick, because sometimes I forget it's there, right? I'm looking for stuff all over the place. I'm like, oh yeah, girl, it's right here. And they're always constantly updating it as well. But I love this training, Nick. And for those of y'all don't know, my mother lost my biological father when she was pregnant with me, right? And so that's why when we talk about the insurance side of things and understanding that a $5,000-$10,000 policy is not going to do anything for a household. My mother, there were 4 kids, one on the way. I have 3 older siblings, right? And so they did not know he was going to pass away at 33 years of age. So when you're sitting down at the table with your clients, you need to speak to them like they are your family members, and you're putting something in place that's going to protect them and their kids as well, and just keep it real, but also let people understand that you care about them, right? And so I just want to share that, because looking at those statistics, y'all, it's real. Okay, so just know your information, because that's going to be important. All right, now.
Fantastic. All right, teammates. So next week we'll pick back up week 2. We'll start talking about the different types of policies that are out there. You want to be here for that, because I know you've probably heard some things about this type of policy, that type of policy. Why is our policy and our concept? We're going to talk about all of that next week. So you want to make sure that you tap in next week. But thank you guys. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here, and we'll make this available for you guys to be able to access it. So if anything you want to watch or listen to all over again, you'll be able to do that. Thanks, teammates.